paying for and not using a CRM, you're leaving tens of or hundreds of thousands. And actually, I talked to another agent who said he believes it's $1 million he's left on the table. And it's really important to understand that, right? It really, really is. So what I want you to do, again, let me go back. Please ask questions in the chat. Tell me, I know, oh, Michael from Denver. I wonder how your weather is. You probably, oh, it might be snowing there. Love Denver. I've been out there a couple times. Absolutely love it. Somebody is, I hear you, somebody, can you put yourself?
That's me, sorry, it's my water bottle.
Sorry, Eric. Put yourself on mute. Thank you. Awesome. But please chat, ask questions throughout. We'll talk about things, top producer for 3 years. Okay. So I affectionately shorten things. Realty Juggler is RJ, top producer is TP. Anything that's double, we seem to just use the initials to talk about the different CRM. So let's get rolling. People in Facebook who are watching this, please feel free. Oh, so I got to turn my phone off. Please feel free to ask questions in there. I'll answer them after. Obviously, I can't be everywhere. I'd like to be, but I can't. And let's just see. If you don't know who I am, my name is Darci LaRocque. I look way better in that picture. I just got back from the gym, just FYI. I don't really have time to go get ready for this. Oh, let me see. Someone else is using Lead Street as a CRM. So, but Bouge isn't much better. Okay, so if you don't know about me, I have a pretty unique knowledge over the last many decades in IT. And the stuff you hate, I really love doing. For many decades, I've looked at how email servers integrate with wireless devices and email software and how everything kind of integrates and works, and with third-party software. So my knowledge is very different than when you would probably look at a CRM and how it works. So I'll tell you what I look for in a CRM, and really some of them are not that great and some of them are okay, but there's some specific things you have to understand about it, okay? And so back in the day, my husband is Terry Osti. I'll talk about him because he's really why I'm in helping real estate agents. I could be helping really any small business work with their systems from top down. And the last thing is always the CRM, because other things need to be set up properly in order for the CRM to work properly, right? So way back when Terry started, I think it was in 2008, I looked at how he was running his business, and it was interesting because I worked, he worked, and whatever, right? So, but I was like, let me just take a look and see what you're doing, and maybe I can help, because I had all this knowledge of systems. And the first question was, why are you running your business off Yahoo? As that's what he was using. He's like, well, I don't know, what else am I supposed to do? I'm like, oh, okay. And, where can you get access to the files you need when you're out and about? Because he was always coming back to the home office to get files. And like, oh, that you don't have to, let's fix that, right? And then we started looking at, well, how are other agents keeping in touch with clients? Because he was new back then. And he's like, well, I don't know. I think there's some software or something people use. So I was like, oh, okay. So then I started researching software for him. And all of his answers I absolutely hated. I really thought, like, okay, none of this makes sense. You need to be set up from top down, so let's fix you. So after we fixed him out of the, where he's now at the Kelowna board, but because we've now moved to the Okanagan, but in the Vancouver board, where there are roughly 15,000 agents, he was always the top 1% to 5%. And every year was always his best year ever. And it's always because his systems have been in place. So, way back then, I actually thought it was just a Terry problem until other agents were saying, hey, can you help me? And I was like, oh, everybody had this problem. And it really was an industry problem. So now that's all I do is I help agents, and I don't want them to be like the Terry back in 2008. All right, so let's get rolling here. How do you make money in real estate? Stuff to sell stuff to realtors. You guys, are you not inundated with people trying to sell you stuff? I know that for sure. And you've got choices of hundreds and hundreds of real estate CRM. So hopefully I'll weed out a little thing so you understand at least what to ask. Okay, so let me just show you who's Terry. This is Terry. Okay. So if you don't know who Terry is, that's my husband, Terry. And when I was looking at his stuff, and then working with, that's all I do is work with agents. There's kind of 4 things that agents don't do. I'm going to talk about one of them today is CRM, but I've done a gazillion webinars that talk about the top down. I'll talk about it really high level today, but not delve into it. But you really do have to understand that, okay? So let's get started. Client relationship management software. And we call this, we like to shorten everything, it's called a CRM. And every industry has a type of CRM, okay? And so you guys have specific real estate CRMs, right? So what is a CRM and how can it help you? So a CRM, it helps you speed up routine processes and stay in touch with clients and prospective clients, okay? It keep in touch and get more repeat and referral business. And nurture and convert leads into clients. And I can tell you that it's a rare thing for me. And back in the day, I thought, well, I actually thought the answer, I'm just talking to agents and, these people that I was talking to just didn't use it. But I always ask people when I'm working with them and say, okay, so how are you keeping in touch with your clients? And I kept consistently getting this. And these are agents 30 years in the business saying, well, I'm not. And they're like, well, really? Like, do you have a CRM? The answer was either yes, I pay for one, or no, I don't. I just try and remember. Well, we know that doesn't work. You can't remember to keep in touch with clients, not consistently anyhow, right? So it's really, really important because you're leaving money on the table. And I get that CRMs are daunting, but we'll get to that, okay? So I want you to know that from an IT and information technology perspective, when I'm looking at software, many years later, still when we're looking at something, we're always looking at software in a specific way, different than you would look at software, okay? So what am I doing when I'm looking at software? We know that it'll never 100% probably do everything that you want. But if it's 80, 90%, that's usually good enough, right? You want support, and I cannot stress this enough, that you want the support to be good and consistent. Because many, 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 many software companies out there, once they reel you in, they're awesome. Once they reel you in, their support is horrible. And when you're in a pinch and something's not working, you want the help. So I can't stress that enough, that you have to understand that software support has to be top notch. It has to be. So when I'm working with agents, I run agents through, I'll talk about this much later if you want to chat with me, but I run agents through a 7-week program. I think our support is phenomenal. And any software we ever recommend or talk about has to have the best support. Okay. So that's what we look at. And here's the thing that I probably know better than you. I sure hope I do, because I've been decades of research and using and understanding how everything flows and integrates, is that if I update my CRM contact, will my Outlook, Mac Mail, iPhone, Android, whatever device you have, update as well? And this is where when people say, I'm using whatever, I always question, because a lot of them I know don't do this, right? Or they don't do it well. And some say, yeah, we flip a switch, and then they do it in a weird way. So we want it to integrate, especially contacts. Contacts are your gold. So if you're out and you're updating a contact on your phone, because you just ran into Joe, let's pretend it's back before COVID, right? You're just out somewhere, you ran into Joe, and Joe says, oh, I got a new email address, and you update the email address on the contact on your phone. In theory, if your systems are set up properly, it should update the CRM contact, and vice versa. If you have an assistant and your assistant is in your CRM and updating contacts and adding categories or labels, it should also update the phone and all those other spots that you touch. Does that make sense? And most of the time I see that not happening. Okay. So that's what I look at. So what a good CRM should do. Okay. Manage multiple types of relationships. So for a person, now let's pretend that they get CRM and everything, you're top down, everything's working, you got a proper business email. I'll touch on that in a minute. Proper business email, you've understood cloud storage, and you understand the CRM and everything's working. So you can manage your relationships based on client type. So a client could be a buyer, and then eventually they could be a seller. And you're saying different things to the different types of people, right? So a good CRM has a library of drip campaigns that can manage multiple types of relationships. That makes sense? And I love it when you guys chat back. Okay. Love it. Okay. All right. So the next thing that I look at is the different types of relationships. So we have, can we have a drip campaign that goes to prospective buyers, and a drip campaign to prospective sellers, right? And then a drip campaign to actual buyers and actual sellers, because they're all different, right? You would say different things to the different type of people where they are in the process, right? And then buyers who bought, you would have another drip campaign to the buyers who bought. Do you get what I mean? And this is where people fall. You're dripping. Oh, you're not doing drips. Okay. Yes. So drips are, I cannot stress the value of drips. And if you understood how much money you're leaving on the table by not doing this and not keeping in touch, everybody would take the time to learn a CRM. Okay. A proper good CRM, because they are so valuable. So listen, if you understood this, I'm going to tell you, and I talk a little bit about the end of this, is that we have a 10-year drip, a buyer drip. So once a buyer bought and they're in the home, we're going to say they're in the home for 10 years. We consistently keep in touch with them for 10 years. 10 years. So I want you to know that all the real estate CRMs, I've never seen one that doesn't have drip campaigns, and we call them default drip campaigns. They're a library of drip campaigns. So you can go in and say, I want the drip that is for prospective buyers. And they'll give you, I don't know, it depends on which CRM. They'll give you 8 emails and a couple to-dos or tasks or whatever inside this drip. And you never use any drips out of the box. I cannot stress this enough, because agents who say, oh, they don't work because they don't sound like you. You must take the time to customize your drips. Okay. When I'm working with Terry, when we did these drips many, many years ago, I created the 10-year drip and I put in all the info, but then I gave it to Terry and I said, you got to Terryize it, because I live with him, but we do not talk the same. Okay. I'm way more informal than Terry is. He's a lot more formal than me. So he went in and he might, I don't remember now, but he might say dear, where I would never say dear. He doesn't say dear, I don't think, but you know what I mean? Like a lot of the drips, they're just there for you to kind of think about what to do for your clients, what to do to send to your clients. That makes sense? It's so important. Okay. So where do you think that you put the categories or labels? So let's say we're labeling people prospective buyer, right? If your systems are set up properly, that label or category is in your contacts. Okay, your contacts. So you'd be able to see it when you log on to Chrome and look at your email. There's your contacts and there's the labels for those people. And where else should you see it? In the CRM, because they're talking to each other. They're integrated and syncing. Whatever you do anywhere, updates everywhere. Right? Does that make sense, you guys? Please ask questions if it doesn't. Okay. All right. A good CRM will also allow you to do reminders for yourself. Like when we do this, the 10-year drip, again, I talk a little bit more about it later, but when we do the 10-year drip, let's just say on the first year, it's going to say, hey, you've been in your house for a year. And it'll say a little blurb, whatever, not salesy. It's about keeping in touch, being top of mind. And then the agent would also get a reminder email or a to-do task to say, hey, don't forget, also text them, call them, do whatever, private message them, however they like to be contacted, right? As well, to say, hey, you got my email, and hey, how you doing? You've been in your house for a year. Can I help you out? Are you doing any renos? What's going on? How you doing with COVID? My goodness, COVID should be the best time for you to reach out. This is a great time to reach out to clients, okay? So a good CRM, again, it has to-do reminders for you to call the client. It has drip campaigns, real estate specific drip campaigns. When agents, I've seen agents where they say, you know, I'm going to go use Salesforce. Well, Salesforce is not a real estate CRM. So they don't have real estate specific CRMs. You'd have to create your own from scratch, and we know that's not going to happen, right? So real estate specific CRMs have real estate drips, right? So a drip is a sequential set of emails to a specific type of client, right? Does that make sense? A sequential set of emails and tasks to a specific type category of client, right? Okay. So, and you label those people in that drip. So if you're going to do a prospective buyer drip, right? Each prospective buyer is going to be on this sequential set of emails, but it sounds like you. It will sound like you. Any specific CRM for mortgage brokers? Yes, Martin, I actually do know some good ones. Jungo has a good one for sure. I know a lot of agents use that. So I don't know if you've looked at Jungo. But again, and Jungo also has, and I think Jungo integrates with some of your systems as well. Okay, so check that out. Email blast. So many of the CRMs, you can say, you know what, I've got my labels or categories. Let's say you label people past clients. So a person, a contact can, you ready for this? Can have 20 labels if you wanted. They could be a past buyer, they could be a past seller, they could be a past client, they could be a current buyer, right? So let's say you've labeled everybody correctly, because it's really, really important. This is what I help agents with, is getting that kind of stuff all in order before we end up even using that CRM. So it's really important to understand. So in an email blast, we want to send an email blast to our past clients. And this is the key, okay? In the program that we help agents with, in our 5th week, this is so exciting, you guys. The 5th week of the program, we just had an agent go through this, and he's just such a jovial guy and non-techie. He's self-admitted non-techie, but it was last week or the week before, he did this exact thing. So we labeled the people. We have a template that you can use, and his name's Rich. He richized it. He made it sound like him and not me, because you can borrow these 3 templates I give you to use. And what happens is he had 179 people labeled past clients that he sent the email blast to. And he said he was remiss in keeping in touch personally. He had generic like MailChimp newsletters that were, you know, not from him. I mean, they're from him, but I don't love how people use MailChimp, but this was a personalized one to say, hey, Joe, how are you doing? I know I haven't been keeping in touch. You know, something along the lines, you know, COVID's been horrible. How's your family? How are you doing? And Joe didn't know it was sent to 179 other people. So he had something like, when I last talked to him, something like, I don't know, 80 or 90 replies. And he had 3 people saying, you know what, we're thinking of selling our home. So don't tell me that doesn't work. That one email blast is going to probably net him a lot of money, right? This stuff works. And I can't tell you over and over and over again. Not only does it save you time to be properly set up, but it will make you more money when you're keeping in touch with your clients. Okay. Jen, what would an ideal CRM for new agents? I don't specifically talk about, except for mortgage brokers, but about specific CRMs, because it does matter from top down how all your stuff is set up. But maybe ask that again near the end. I'm not going to say specifics, because it really does matter. What have you done with your email addresses? How are you using your stuff? What's going on with cloud storage? And then we look at the CRM, because my goal is not to have it a standalone database, because it shouldn't be. Okay. All right. Let's see, track your revenue and sales. A lot of them will also easily track your revenue and sales. So the main things I help agents with is, what we do is we want you to be comfortable with how everything is integrated and syncing. You update the CRM, it updates everywhere else. That you understand email blasts, you can send email blasts out, and you get your darn drip started. So you see the value of it, okay? The bonus stuff to track revenue and sales, yeah, that's awesome. and a lot of them do expenses, and they track lock boxes, and they track other things. But the main thing is, if nothing else, because what I find in working now a decade or so with agents, is that it's so overwhelming that they end up doing nothing, right? So if you get all those ducks in a row, then go look at the other bonus features that a CRM has. Once you've done the drips, you get the email blast, and you understand all that, okay? Other question, does MailChimp or Constant Contact or similar marketing software does the same job as a CRM? Oh, Ray, that's a great question. No, no, that's a really great question. So let's talk about that for a second, because that's a really great one. Here's the difference, okay? MailChimp and Constant Contact are newsletter services, right? So they don't say if a person, now I guess there's some are kind of, BombBomb, not really a CRM. A CRM has a library of real estate drip campaigns, right? The ability to do email blast, but it's not the same. So with many CRMs can integrate with MailChimp. And what I mean by that is that we add someone to a category MailChimp or newsletter, and then we can push that user up to the list in MailChimp, which is cool, right? But MailChimp is a newsletter service. So the difference is usually the analytics are better, but they're newsletter services. They're not like drip campaigns, okay? I guess you could do it, but I wouldn't. But MailChimp and Constant Contact have really great analytics. And what I find most people don't do is actually look at the analytics, because it's really powerful stuff. So, sorry, I'm confused. You talked about Chrome email. Oh, I talked about looking. Oh, sorry. Let me get back to that, Shannon. Yep. Thank you for the question. So with MailChimp, let's say you send out a newsletter, and it goes to, let's just easy numbers, 100 people, and then you never look at anything. You should go look at the analytics to see how many people opened it, what's the open rate, and all the links inside the email, how many people clicked on it. So let's just say you have a portion that has a new listings. Now, I actually don't love it when people just send out real estate info in newsletters, but let's just say it has a new listing, and you send it to me, and I opened it and I clicked on it 5 times. Wouldn't that be a great reason? And you wouldn't call me and say, hey, I noticed that you clicked on that link 5 times, but what a great reason to call me and say, hey, how you doing? Did you get my newsletter? How's COVID? How are you doing through COVID? How can I help you? Blah, blah, whatever your relationship is with that person. Way better analytics usually in a newsletter service, okay? Let me answer the question as well as Shannon said. I said go to Chrome. So with email, okay, and this is in my other webinar where I talk about systems from top down, but with email addresses, just think about this, whether it's Gmail or Yahoo or Shaw or TELUS or whatever, every email address, you can access it by what I like to call an email viewer. So you could be accessing it on Outlook, you could be accessing it on MacMail, you could be accessing your email on a browser and logging into Gmail or Shaw or whatever. That's what I meant by that, okay? You could be accessing the email account on your phone with Apple Mail, or maybe you downloaded Outlook, or maybe you downloaded the app Gmail, right? Does that make sense? So there's you can have multiple different viewers to view email. Does that help you out, Shannon? Let me know if it doesn't. Okay, let's keep going. All right, a good CRM will allow you to keep all your contacts, personal and business, synchronized and up to date. And I keep talking about that because this is a game changer. If you're managing, okay, good, Shannon. If you're managing multiple databases, it means your systems aren't set up properly, or you're in a crappy CRM that doesn't allow it to integrate. Okay? That's really, really important, because if it's set up properly, then again, one update updates everywhere. Okay? All right. So, where are we here? What am I doing? I'm going backwards. I am. Okay. So again, to recap, every time you get a prospective seller, you should not have to compose an email. How much time are you wasting on that? Okay. So, and then you kind of remember, I'm going to tell you this story, and this is really critical because I was speaking at the TREB conference last May, before the mayhem, and we went to the Dominican for a week after, I think it was after or before, I can't remember. Anyhow, I went to the Dominican and we met this couple, you know, always talking about, hey, what do you do? So it's always easy to explain what Terry does. He's a real estate agent, right? And they told us what they did. And they said, the gal says, well, what do you do? And I said, you know what, let me ask you a question. Have you ever bought or sold a house? And she says, yes, we bought our current home about 5 years ago. And I said, oh, that's awesome. So would you use the agent again? She says, oh, he was so, she went on and on about how good the guy was and she loved him. And I said, great, what's his name? And she says, oh, I don't know. This went on for I think we had 5 days left or something. And it was a big joke that she was going to find out. And she was looking in her phone, trying to find her contacts. She couldn't remember the guy because he never kept in touch. So she would not be able to use him, right? I don't want that to be you, because you don't know how many times that happens, that they forgot about who you were, right? So they don't get to use you again, and you don't get to help them, and you don't get to make the commission, right? It's really, really, really horrible. Okay. So a good CRM, again, reminds you to call people, and it is all automated so you can automate your business. And wouldn't it be great to be super organized, to have the emails go out on the anniversary of your client's possession date that says, hey, whoever, Fred and Wilma, if you hang out with me enough, you know I use the Flintstones to people in my talking. It's been a year that you've been in your house. It's been 2 years. It's been 3 years. It's been 5 years. And is it time to renovate? How can I help you? Do you need trades? Whatever, I'm here for you. Value-added info for every type of client to keep you organized, right? So awesome. What you shouldn't be doing is, and I see this all the time when I talk to agents, is that Joe says top producer is better, and Billy says that Chime is better, and somebody else says this new other one is better. And yet you're still not really using the CRM that you chose. I see it all the time. Now, again, my only preface is that some CRMs aren't as good as others because they don't integrate. And if they don't integrate, I wouldn't even look at it. If their support isn't good, I won't even look at it. Okay. And there's only a couple that I even like. So, you know, it's important to understand this. So don't keep jumping around from one CRM to the other, because honest to goodness, to actually understand how a CRM works takes some work and some time. But if you knew it was going to make you another $100,000 this year or $200,000 this year, wouldn't you spend the time? So I don't understand. Stop asking on forums what the best CRM is. I'm actually going to do a short video on people to look at first 5 things when you're evaluating a CRM. Because what one agent said is good doesn't mean is good for you. Okay. Martin, new question. Can you help set up mortgage brokers or only real estate agents? You know, at the end, I'm going to give you guys a link. It's also always on my website. My website is agenttechmastery.com, agenttechmastery.com. And up above, there's a link to book a 30-minute chat, complimentary. Just to see if you're even a good fit for my program. I only allow so many people in. I will always say agents, but I have had some brokers through it as well. And you'll hear me, I talk about specific things about agents, but it's very similar, right? Again, what we're doing is similar to as any small business, but I know your lingo, you know, I'm only around real estate agents, so I get your issues. And again, I'm not going to talk about specifics on real estate, but don't jump around. And another thing, stop paying for one if you're not going to use it. Because if you go back and look at how much money you've spent over the years just paying top producer or whoever, and not really using it except to manage your contacts, well, there's cheaper ways to manage your contacts. Okay. I'm just saying, stop throwing your money away. And even worse though, is if you do nothing, right? We know, like, if you're doing nothing, and what I see agents do is chasing new business all the time, door knocking and pop-bys and cold calling and all that horrible stuff you probably don't love doing, right? But you're not keeping in touch with your past clients. Really. I like, it's a no-brainer for me to make, like, let's keep in touch with past clients. Okay. All right. Now, running multiple databases. Now, a CRM is not Outlook and it is not Excel, right? It is not any of these things. It's not Outlook, it's not Excel, it's not a notebook, it's not your memory, because we know that, you know, you're not going to remember everything. Maybe if you're doing 1 or 2 deals a year, yeah, it's easy to remember what to do. But if you're doing more than that, you're going to forget stuff because you guys have a lot of admin, right? Or I should have called Joe, and then you forget. And then it's like, oh, it's a week later. Oh, I should have called him. And then you're a year later and you haven't called poor Joe, right? You need reminders to do things or have people on specific drip campaigns. And I can't tell you how awesome it is. Let me explain. This happens all the time. So we have my husband, Terry. So obviously I use him as an example a lot, but we have people, every buyer is on a 10-year drip. And I cannot tell you how many times Terry's come down because he doesn't know where people are in the process unless he's looked it up. But let's say I always use Joe. Let's use Fred this time. Fred is on the, got the 4-year anniversary email. That sounds like Terry just composed it, right? Said, hey, Fred, you've been in your house for 4 years. Can you believe it's been that long? How are you doing? How can I help? And he picks up the phone. But what happens a lot is that the people get that 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, 7-year email, right? And they respond back like Terry just typed it up. And they'll say, oh, you know what? My mom's thinking of selling. Or, you know what? We are thinking of maybe selling next year. Can you call me? Right? This happens all the darn time. And his business is like 80-90% referrals. I think it's higher than that because he consistently keeps in touch with all his buyers and sellers, right? You understand the power of it. I can't explain the power of it because it's amazing. Okay. Keeping in touch. All right. Okay. And the top things to look for in a CRM is, I want you to always know, we're going to just recap this, that no software is ever perfect. Okay. I can't stress this enough because people say, well, it doesn't do this. Well, maybe the other one doesn't do that, right? Because they don't all do exactly the same. Maybe one tracks lock boxes, and that's really important for one agent, and the other one doesn't track lock boxes, right? They're not all going to be exactly what you're looking for. Again, the support, is it easy for you to use? So everybody has different levels of technology or understanding of how things work. Is it easy for you to use? Not in the real estate forums where some other agent said they love this and they don't know, is it integrated even? They're maybe managing multiple databases. We don't know what their setup is. We don't know their knowledge. We want it to be easy for you, okay? And the key thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is the integration. Can you update the CRM contacts and it updates your phone contacts and the Chrome browser where you log in to your email or Outlook or Macmail or whatever? Everything should be integrated, okay? Like it really is important. And this is the other one where it's the money side. I've seen agents say, well, you know, that's expensive. If you use a software and you're going to make 50, 100,000, 250 more in repeat and referral business, who cares? Like, who cares about the money? Because you're going to more than get back, right? More than get back. Let me just see. I've got maybe I shouldn't read this out loud. Hold on. There's a bunch of good real estate specific ones, and I've used trial a bunch. Yeah, Darci's right. Pick the top one that feels good to you. Yeah. And just buy in. Thank you, Eric. They all have strengths and weaknesses. TP, let me just see this. TP, exhaustive. Yeah, their support. Oh, see, I don't think their support's good. RJ, simple, responsive. Chime is decent, customized. Yeah, there you go. You're right? It is really. But I can't stress enough that coming from my background, I know they're not all equal. They do not integrate. I don't like top producer for a variety of reasons, but I don't think the support's good because you get different answers from their supports kind of, I don't know where it is in the world, but different answers from different people. And even their new, which we keep hearing about, the new TP doesn't integrate how I would like it to integrate. So again, I'm looking at things a lot different than you would, right? All right. So initial setup of any CRM. This is interesting because you shouldn't, and this is what I see all the time, you shouldn't have to manually type stuff in. It generally, 90% of the time, you shouldn't. And when they say, this is a key thing, when they say, no, use our CRM and let's import your data from Gmail or Yahoo or some other CRM or whatever. Now, sometimes we do need to do that, but a lot of times that's a red flag for me. That means your systems are not set up, that it should just flip a switch and integrate. We shouldn't have to import your contacts. That makes sense. That's really, really important to understand. It should sync. Okay. Initial sync of any CRM. And when they say also, you know what, Mr. Agent, use our CRM and we'll sync it by a third-party syncing tool. Again, red flag. If they say you have to download a third-party syncing tool to sync with your Outlook or MacMail or whatever, that's a problem, because there will be problems with that. I guarantee you. I've spent my life fixing these things. It should automatically sync and integrate. Okay. Now let's talk about email. Not sorry, I think that was who wrote that? Was that Eric? Just a sec. Yeah. So Eric says not a Zapier fan. I love Zapier. Actually, I love Zapier is a third-party tool. But no, because it means the company has the ability to spend the money to make it integrate properly. It means they haven't. So yeah, there's other reasons to use Zapier, and I'm a paid Zapier fan. So I love Zapier, but many CRMs actually have not Zapier. They might say use PySync is a contact syncing software. So you have to pay for that as well. You shouldn't have to. We should be able to, in the CRM, flip a switch and it integrates. Now, again, the problem is, and I'm going to talk about this briefly because I can never not do a webinar and talk to you about the real problem. The real problem is the foundation of your business is, so let's say the CRM company says, yep, we allow integration, but it's not going to work for you because you're using SHA, TELUS, old technology that will not integrate. So we look at this, TELUS, Yahoo, Hotmail, and Gmail. With email, there's two sides of email. And I'm going to tell you, remember, I'm 28 years of email and email services and researching and how things work and email clients, email viewers, email apps. So my knowledge is vast on email. I'll argue anybody to the death about email because I really, really understand how email works. So these email addresses, with maybe the exception of Gmail, but optically are horrible. There's many other reasons not to use them. Look at the right-hand side. Who looks more professional? If anybody's going to say the left-hand side, I know that you're probably using it and you think it's okay. It is not okay. Optically, it is not okay. There's technical reasons as well that you should not be using, but optically, doesn't it look better, joesells.homes, than telus.net or yahoo.ca or shaw.ca or hotmail.com, right? It just does, but it's just that you guys don't know how to fix all this, and that's where I come in, okay? And what you love or love what you hate, I love doing. Okay, so why does it matter? Let's talk about this, because in a high level, and this is really high level, okay, is that SHA, let's use SHA, because SHA, I hate SHA, and I can fix it, but I hate SHA for agents. And the reason is SHA is POP. So you have a device, and let's say, and you log on to SHA webmail. Let's just say that those two things, okay? Usually it's multiple things, but just for ease of understanding what is going on. So with SHA, if you look at this, nothing integrates. So when I have SHA on my phone, everything downloads to my phone. When I have SHA on the web, everything is there. If I delete off the web, it does not delete off my phone. If I add a contact on my web, it doesn't add it to my phone, right? Does that make sense? Nothing syncs and nothing integrates with any old POP server email. Bad, 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 bad. And when I was in the game, when IMAP came up, oh my goodness, I was so thrilled. I did a happy dance, like, oh, this is like heaven. Yeah, geeky, nerdy person. I was like, this is the best thing ever. When this came out a very long time ago, decades ago, but it now allowed us to say, oh, okay, when I read the email on my web version, it shows red on my phone. Yay, big deal, right? When I move an email from the web version into a folder, it moves it on my phone. Yay. But guess what? Nothing else is integrated. That's why your stuff isn't working, okay? And then the new way, which has been out for, I think actually it came out 2008 or 9. So the new way is that we as solopreneurs or small businesses can actually run like a big business, okay? Proper configuration and setup of a business email, right? So that everything, and again, when and if you ever work with me, we get all the stuff from all the places that you have it. With Apple messes people up, Shaw, TELUS, wherever, old Gmail accounts, and we get it into a properly configured business email, all the contacts, all the calendars, that is now going to sync with that CRM. Okay, really, really important. So that means one update updates everywhere. No matter where you're updating, it's updating everywhere. Do you understand the value of that? I can't stress enough, because I've had people cry once this is done, happy tears, not sad tears, because it's like, oh my gosh, my life's just changed. I just have one, like saving time, money, and now you're going to keep in touch with your clients. Okay. So I want you to do, I was just doing a kickoff with a Remax office brokerage in Edmonton yesterday, and Jared James, you guys know Jared James. Jared James was, and I were the speakers. And I do this little thing that I want you to figure out how much money you're losing by not keeping in touch. But he had some stats that the lifetime value of every client you've ever had, I guess from referrals and everything else, is $117,000. So if you knew that, why are you not keeping in touch? It doesn't even make sense to me, right? So I want you to actually jot down how many clients you potentially have lost every year. And don't bury your head in the sand. You have to see the numbers of this, or you don't understand why you should not be, like, you should be using a CRM and your system should be set up. I want you to actually do this, okay? This is how much potential money you've lost and how many clients you didn't get to help because you don't have the right systems in place. So remember that $117,000 that Jared James says. But I actually, if you do your own numbers, 117 is high. That's awesome. So let's just say it's 5 deals a year, and everybody's different. I know there's some way higher commissions and some lower, but let's just say for the ease of math, we're going to say $5,000 for 5 deals lost. Okay. Easy math. That's $25,000 lost a year. But if you've been in business, and it's actually way more than this for most agents, right? If you've been in business for 10 years, that's $250,000 that you've left on the table, right? $250,000. So it doesn't even make sense not to fix this stuff to me. Any questions, you guys? Ask questions. Let me just see. There's a G Suite alias, your own domain related email. I'm not sure what you mean. And so you have to be on the right email server. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by alias, your own domain related email. We really want you to be set up on the proper plan, on the proper one. And what's interesting to me with brokerages is I can't tell you how many times I'm fixing it because they had IT people they're IT people. You know what? And back before I actually worked in your industry, I would have said the same thing as those IT people, but they're not testing software. So they've set people up on the wrong business email server. And I'm always fixing that. Okay. It drives me crazy. Okay. Be open to fixing your current way of doing things before anything more serious happens. Like, did anyone do the numbers? You don't have to tell me the numbers, but in the chat, are you astounded if you actually did the numbers? Yes. You guys are a quiet group now. Hey, nobody's there. You all crying now and you're going to go figure out what to do. Right. No, let me just see. Okay, I don't know where you guys are. You're not talking to me anymore. Okay, let's keep going. So remember, I want you to remember too that through the vendors, Scared by the numbers, exactly. Through the vendors, I don't want you to, again, remember, don't manually type your stuff. It needs to be set up properly. Import spreadsheets into your CRM. No, you generally shouldn't be doing that. Working on deleting, oh, Eric, hold on. I'm just going to read what Eric said. Working on deleting 500 duplicate contacts. So when we work with agents, you shouldn't have to manually delete duplicate contacts, okay? You really shouldn't have to be doing that. There's ways systematically that we can merge duplicate data. And here's the issue. Some CRMs don't let you do this, and this drives me crazy. Tell me how much time it's going to cost you to manually delete 500 emails or contact databases or contact records rather than hitting a button saying merge the duplicate data, right? That I'm glad you brought that up because that's another thing I look at. Again, managing separate databases, and we want everything, have I stressed this enough, to integrate, okay? We really want everything to integrate. So using a CRM isn't the only thing, it is everything. And having your system set up to have a proper working CRM, right? And let's just talk about the drip campaigns again, because I also, it's funny because Jared James also mentioned loyalty programs, and I talk about this as well, is that you can create inside your drips something that we like to call a loyalty program. And what does that mean? It means that annually, easy for me to say, do 3 or 4 of these things to all past buyers and sellers, right? Pick what it is, and it could be on a drip. Update them, say, hey, guess what? Just, their address. You can go and do a video and talk about the value of their home and the homes in their area every year. How valuable is that? Come on. You can have a reminder in the CRM. Okay, give them a gift certificate to their favorite restaurant, store, coffee shop, Amazon gift card, Costco membership, tickets to a game, round of golf. You should know this about your clients, right? This is what we do. Professional cleaning once a year, right? How awesome is that? Home magazine monthly. I had a mortgage guy do this. This is a long time ago. And every month I got a house and home, I think, magazine. And when I met Terry, obviously it switched up. But when I was ever doing anything, I recommended that guy. It's been a long time. I can't remember his name now, but I definitely remembered his name because on the magazine, every magazine that came, it said compliments of him. Right? I love the magazine. I look forward to it every month. Okay. So we want to be able to, in the CRM, send emails, bulk emails. I talked about that, drip campaigns. So important to nurture your clients, to categorize your people. It's magic. And this is an example of something you could use, right, in a CRM. Now, the variable, which is the percent, is different on every CRM. Every MailChimp or Constant Contact, we use what we call variables that pulls the first name. All right. So I hope you're well, Fred. It's been a crazy ride for me these last 10 years or so, and I've been remiss in keeping in touch. Own up to it. How have you been? It would be great to grab a coffee or drink. Okay, this is pre-COVID. You might want to say something different now. Have a Zoom session. Can we catch up, right? Or send them something or whatever, right? This is just an idea. It really is important. Drip marketing is, again, I would just want to specify this again, it's dripping people with pre-written messages over time, right? And so also a little tip for you guys that are using drips, always remind yourself when they're out of the drip, because when they're out of the drip, then you never keep in touch with them anymore, right? So you want to put them in another drip once they're done a buyer drip, let's say. They want to go into a different drip, okay? And I talked about that 10-year drip, and this is really... We've adjusted it over the years, but this is our 10-year drip sequence. People who come into my program get this for free, included in our program. But and you have to personalize it. But basically, it's keeping in touch with people consistently over 10 years with a drip sequence, a drip and task sequence. Okay, this is such a moneymaker. Okay. So this is kind of an example. Happy first anniversary in your home, how time flies. Hope you found the materials I've been sending useful. If I can help you in connection with any home-related need, we've actually adjusted this one since. Or questions, whether you need lists of great trades or copy one of my fabulous checklists. Terry sends out checklists. Please don't hesitate to call or email me. Helping you with the purchase involves one of the most important decisions in your life. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to work with you. And again, I would change this up to be less formal. He speaks in a more formal tone. And here's a little joke that made me laugh, and it's a really funny telemarketer MP3 video. And you would make it sound like you, right? Unbelievable. And I know some agents who pay for a CRM just to use print mailing labels, right? Because what a pain to do a mail merge. And many of the good CRMs also have, you say, past clients, print on Avery, whatever the Avery, oh my God, my 8126 went blank for a minute. And it just prints a label. Like, how crazy is that? It's awesome. All right, so no CRM is perfect. It's possible to have all your email folders, contacts, calendars sync with any device you have and any CRM, you guys, right? And sync with the CRM. That's the key. It's not running a separate database. You got to do email blasts. We're talking drip campaigns and mail merge, doing the printing. It's awesome, okay? So I know everybody wants to know what's the best CRM. And it's the one you're going to use. Now, there's more to it than that. And that's why I offer you guys to have a complimentary chat where I can look at are you a Shaw user, a TELUS user? How many emails do you have? How many cloud storage do you have? What CRM are you using right now? And are you using it or just paying for it, or you're not using it? There's a whole bunch of things because everybody's so unique. Have you been in the business for 3 years? Are you new? 30 years? Like, because if you're in 30, you've probably done a lot more things, right? So it really is the one you use. But my goal is to get agents' time back and fill your funnel with the repeat and referral business. And remember that math we did a while ago, right? You need to see how valuable it is, right? Could it be millions of dollars that you're leaving on the table because you're not keeping in touch consistently with your clients, right? So in the top, when I do a whole webinar on top down, it's correct domain and website, right? It's correct business email on the correct business email server. And it's the correct use of cloud storage linked to that correctly configured business email. And then, of course, a properly configured CRM, set up properly, configured properly to work with that number 2, correct business email on the correct business email server. That is a game changer, my friends, okay? So again, we want everything to update. No matter what you update, it updates everywhere, okay? So whether you're in business 8 or 10 or 30 years and you're not keeping in touch with clients at all, or maybe not consistently because you can't figure out a way to do it, right? And you're chasing new leads. It's the real cost of doing nothing, not fixing your systems, is the money you aren't going to make, the people you're not going to help, right? And the missed opportunities. It's crazy. So first off, I know a lot of you guys are actually already in our Facebook group, but we've got a Facebook group for agents, which is www.streamlinedagents.com. Please go there. You can ask questions in there. I'll answer. Other agents will answer. We have tech tips inside there. Just join us at streamlinedagents.com. That'll push you over to our Facebook group. And then, of course, if you want to book a complimentary strategy session with me, it's agenttechmastery.com/apply. Please type in any questions if you have questions right now while we're kind of wrapping up. I also, how are we doing for time? Yeah, I also tell people I'll do a review of someone's online presence, because in our program, we do this in a lot more detail, but I always like people to understand what their clients might find about you. So I picked someone that said yes from the list. So be ready to, I think Alexa, let me just go back. Shaw, no, hold on. Alan, hold on. Where's my list? I got 2 screens, like, where's my list? Just a sec, let me pull it up. Alexis Allen, are you here? Actually, if you're here, let me know, okay? And let me just see. Jen, I'm a new agent with substantial social circle looking for starting correctly lead gen in COVID times. Is that something you can help me with? It can't hurt to book a call and let's just see. With new agents, it's interesting. I've had a few new agents run through my program. And honestly, if I could work with the new agent so they're set up properly to begin their life as an agent, it would make their life increasingly better moving forward in 30 years from now, because they would understand proper setup and they'd be set up properly from the beginning. Agents who've been around, like, I can fix everybody, but it's so much easier to get new agents. And yeah, your sphere is different, but you came from somewhere. You were doing something before. You have friends. You might have worked somewhere else, right? Some new agents are 20 and some are 50, right? So everybody has different life experiences. So just go and go apply. And again, this part's complimentary. I just look at your stuff. You'll fill out a form, and hopefully I can help you out with that. Oh, Alexis, sorry, I said your name wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm going to look at your stuff. So just give me a minute here. Let me just see. You guys will get a reminder from Zoom. You'll have all these links tomorrow. You can always go to agenttechmastery.com, and up above there's a 30-minute strategy session menu link. So if you don't go here, that's fine. So no other questions? Because now what we're going to do is we're going to review a person's, we're going to do Alexis. And I want you guys need to do this every 6 months, at a minimum every 6 months. Okay? Because you don't know what your clients see. Okay. And I asked when you logged in, registered, who wants me to review. So we randomly picked Alexis. And it's Alexis Allen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go over to here, and all I'm going to do, and this is what you should do. I'm just going to type in. So imagine that I'm looking for someone to list my house. So I interviewed Alexis and I interviewed some other agent, and I go back home and I'm like, I kind of like them both. Let me go check out Alexis Allen. And I'm just going to type, this is probably what they would do. Right. Okay. Awesome. So also a film director. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to just open up in a new tab, and I'm just going to do a few of them. Okay. And I'm going to guess some of these aren't you. I know some of them are. Okay. That's good. You're not, this isn't you, right? I'm just guessing. It's not you. Maybe no, that's Tina Alexis Allen. Okay. And that might be you. And you know what, with you, I might actually add realtor, because we don't want that other Alexis Allen getting in the way. I'm going to just move you guys over here, and let's just, okay. So I think I got that one. I got REW. I got this one. I got Remax, Facebook. This is you. Okay, perfect. So this is really probably what someone might do, right? And maybe not quite as organized here, because I do this all day long as looking at agent stuff. That's probably enough just to show you. So basically what you want to do is you want to Google your name, and you want to see what comes up. Now for you guys, anyone, you want to do it incognito, because sometimes it knows it's you. Like if I search for myself, it knows it's me. I'm logged into my account. So in here, in a Chrome browser, you would say new incognito window. So no memory is of what you've done. Okay. All right. So let's look at Alexis's stuff. Okay. So first off, good. I can tell, again, I've been doing this. I used to build websites as well. I don't do that anymore, but I can tell that it's a newer themed website. Okay. If it's not using the whole real estate of a page, you're on an old platform. Okay. And it looks old. So awesome. Looks like, I think you're using my real page. That's great. Perfect. Okay. So, I don't like Shaw. Maybe book a call. Shaw is horrible. Like your stuff is not talking to each other. And if we add you guys, if you're Apple users as well, Apple throws a wrench in there, because Apple takes over, and even you don't understand how it works, but Apple starts saving all the contacts and calendar in iCloud. So then you got your Shaw stuff, you got Apple stuff, you got other things going on, and none of the stuff is talking. So your email, if that's the one you're using, which it looks like, will never work with a CRM properly. It has to be fixed. Okay. Okay. So awesome. Okay. So I always also look at, has the vendor, the website hosting vendor, which is my real page in this example. When I hover over it, I always look at the bottom left. Do you see the bottom left? It says tell. That means that if I use Skype and I wanted to call her right now, I could. Or if I was looking up her website on my phone, I tap on it, it would call her. If it wasn't on there, you make it difficult. I have to type in the number by looking at the phone number, right? That makes sense? Okay. Now, and this is also, if I tap on here, it says mail to. That means that if I tap on here, it'll bring up my email platform and fill in her email address. I see they usually do this, but sometimes vendors miss this. Okay. This is good. Let me just quickly look at any of this stuff here. So I'm just going to pull up, I'm going to tap on here. A lot of times what the vendors do is this is good because they open up another page. So it's not taking me away from her page. Pretend people don't know anything. They don't remember, they don't know how to get back. Maybe they don't know how to do the back arrow. We just don't know, right? And Pinterest, I think. Okay. So perfect. So we've got that. It all opens up in the new window. There's a lovely picture of Alexis. That's awesome. Now then let's just look at the headers. So I want to meet Alexis because that's probably what I want to do, right? Is she good? Alexis has updated this. Now, a lot of people, they keep the same thing and they never update the theme template text. It looks like you have, because I see some words in here that look like, yep. You always want to, just like a drip campaign, customize your website pages. It helps you in SEO as well, right? So it looks like Alexis has done this. So I'd read this, and you might want to put it like personal stuff in there. I think people do, like, let's say, and I'm just giving an example. I don't know Alexis if she's got this, but like if you love dogs and you got 2 dogs, I might even put a picture, because it might actually, if I'm a dog lover and I see, oh, she likes dogs with that other agent, that might just sway me, right? If I liked you both the same and your marketing was the same, right? You just don't know. Personal touches, I think, is always awesome. So that's fantastic. Okay, so then we go up here and we say testimonials. Oh, you guys, hold on. You're Remax, right? Yeah. So Remax agents, I always tell Remax agents, and I should do a thing about this one day. Again, I talk in my membership, I help agents with this, but Rank My Agent is a third-party testimonial site that with Remax agents, I know you either get it for free or a really good deal, but I don't even care. I'd pay for it if I was an agent, because it's linked with realtor.ca. Right? And it is a widget that you can put inside here. And what I mean by that, let me show you Terry's. We have 2 sites because we're just switching to Kelowna.homes. I can never remember where I put things. Eventually this one will be gone. Let's just look at, where did I put it on this one? Oh, maybe it's on the Kelowna one. Oh, yeah, because we're actually updating this one more. Let me go to the Kelowna. Oh my God, Kelowna.homes. That's a new website. Okay, there we are. So this is, just think about this, okay? When we tap on this, it's pulling the information. So I'm always about updating things one time. So the client does the testimonial, it automatically updates here. No brainer. You don't have to remember. Now you got to log in and tell My Real page if you don't know how to do it yourself, right? Rank My Agent. And if you go and look at realtor.ca and you search for Terry, inside his realtor.ca profile will show whatever 980 testimonials inside. So really, really awesome. I love Rank My Agent. And if you go to agenttechmastery.com, my website, I think I got agents a deal. If you're not Remax and you don't get their deal, obviously I think theirs is better, but under top agent apps, it's down at the bottom. Okay. Oh, you know what? Oh, something's weird with the company I'm using, and they know it, so they're fixing it. But anyhow, in here, host your website, RoboForm, say my bomb testimonials, Rank My Agent. You get a deal if you subscribe to their service and mention my name or something. Just read that. Okay, let's get back to Alexis. Okay, so awesome. Other thing that I find agents do, again, this is using up real estate. So when you have every real estate website has this option to become a member. Why would I become a member? Have you ever had anyone become a member? I'm guessing not, because what's the benefit to me, right? So it's using up real estate, and sometimes it's a big banner, join my newsletter. Why? What's the benefit to me to join your newsletter? Okay, you gotta understand that, and then just look at all these things, because it's using up, valuable real estate up there. And then you just go through, okay, blog. Now, this is no judgment. I see this all the time. Okay, you ready? A blog is a blog. A blog is not listings. And this is exactly what I see on agent site. This is not a blog. This is your listings. And yeah, they'll let you do it, but it doesn't make sense to me. Right. So well, hold on, more blog. I don't know which ones am I on here. That's reports. Okay, that's the main reports. More, and that's interesting that the reports are under blog. That doesn't really make sense to me. And links. Oh, that doesn't look good. Okay, so you need to fix that, right, Alexis? Okay, so go fix that, and then let's just take a look at this. So I always think that if you don't really use a platform, don't put the link on your website, because maybe I'm an Instagram user and I go, oh, awesome. She's got, and it's a private account, so I can't even look at anything. And you don't say you're an agent on here. Well, you have the link, so that's okay. But you know what I mean? Like, or if, okay, you don't have any videos, or the link that you put, you have nothing, why even put a YouTube channel video? Like a link, sorry. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. And here we are, Twitter. 30 followers. So what's the lot? Okay, so you kind of use Twitter. That one's all right. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at each one, and on each of these social media platforms, I don't know why this is so, I guess this is probably not right. Why didn't it come up? I don't know if it's not the right link that was on your website, but sloppy errors like that might just sway me one way or the other, right? Something's not working. It might just be Facebook. I can't really tell without getting into oh, it's this. Oh, I don't know what's wrong, but I'd go look at that and make sure. So again, so let's just say I want to know more about Alexis. I'm not used to the new okay, the new platform they've switched here. So we want to make sure, okay, you got, hopefully that's your phone number, that's your website, good. You got some about information. And you some additional information. Okay, so that's good. So each platform should have that. Okay. So you really want to go through each of these. Is REW, what do they got? They have the right info, they have the right links, they have the right brokerage. Does LinkedIn, can I get your phone number on LinkedIn if I'm a LinkedIn user? Realtor.ca, you'll see if you went to Terry's, he would have his Rank My Agent here, right? So I want to make sure that's your office website. Your website isn't on here for some reason, so you might want to check out that. So you want to look at everything and make sure all links work, that if I want to easily get a hold of you, I can, okay? That was a really fast one for Alexis. Let me just see any other questions. All these online extortionists. So it just seems like we're having to pay everyone off with example. Well, no, I don't. Well, Rank My Agent, somehow they got I don't know how they got on realtor.ca, but here's the thing. Again, with Rank My Agent, their support's phenomenal. Their platform is fantastic. They're always doing updates. They're a Canadian company, and I love supporting Canadian. And when I find software I like, I always try and contact them and say, hey, I'm going to tell people about it anyway. Can you give people a deal? So you get a deal with Rank My Agent, okay? So we are a little bit over, but I think we're all good. You can watch the replay on my Facebook business page. I will eventually move it over to YouTube and other spots. Are there any other questions, you guys? Any questions out there? Let me flip back to my apply page. No, you're good. Okay, well, have a fantastic day. I hope that helped today. Oh, hold on. We had a Q&A already. I got sidetracked. We did the Q&A. You're going to get a follow-up. And our next webinar is Feb 25th. And I'm going to talk more about email. If you didn't get enough about how important email is to run your business, join that one, okay? What CRM do you recommend? I don't know if you weren't listening, that I actually need to talk to people about that, because no CRM is good for every single agent. And yeah, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, there's some that don't integrate. And so when I work with agents and we do that 30-minute chat, I ask you a bunch of questions and I do a little research about how your setup is. And it really depends on what your current setup is. If you were using a CRM right now and you loved it, then we would look at something different. Then great, then let's get your systems set up and make it integrate with that CRM, okay? All right. Yeah, everyone, you can go to, let me go back. You can always go to my website, agenttechmastery.com. And up above it says schedule a strategy session, or you can go to agenttechmastery.com/apply. It kind of goes to the same spot. And you can look at my calendar and look at your calendar, book a time, and we'll have a chat to see if you're a good fit for my program. And if not, no big deal. I'll have helped you out a little bit. Okay. So awesome. Excellent. Okay. So we'll talk to whoever books, and otherwise we'll see you guys at the next webinar or on my Facebook page. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye. You're welcome. See you guys.